4 of us, Will Tagle, Judith Yost, Bob Meyer, and myself, flew to eastern Turkey, where we went to Urfa. Urfa is one of the oldest known human habitations. It was the town where 1800 BC, nearly 4,000 years ago, Abraham was born. It was in Urfa where Abraham had his great insight into the power of monotheism. It was near Urfa that we went to the sites of Gobekli Tepe, monumental structures built of huge stones of 10-ton blocks from a nearby quarry were fashioned 12,000 years ago, while according to modern anthropological theory, human beings were still in the Paleolithic. We hadn't even invented pottery. We had no more than a little stone tool. And yet, miraculously, in ways that we do not even begin to understand, the Paleolithic peoples, led by their shamans, gathered in Gobekli Tepe and built several oval-shaped, Stonehenge-like monuments to the stars. And they've excavated only 5% of what is totally there. But they found that these columns of stone are covered with all kinds of animals and insects and birds and human form that some people believe were patterns of the constellations that one can see. And on several nights we stayed out on the hillside and looked at the Milky Way. And it came as kind of a shock for those of us that are used to an urban environment not to see very many stars. But there outside of Urfa, the stars were there in their millions as a panoply, particularly as we experienced it on a moonless night, so the stars were even more clear. We went to other places and we began to really contemplate why this site where they met and they worshiped in the first temples that came before civilization. And then about 10,000 years ago, they intentionally covered the entire complex up, and it became unknown to subsequent history. And right about at that moment came the ignition of the Neolithic Revolution, because it was at Gobekli Tepe, right outside Urfa, that came the single most important innovation that led to the agricultural revolution and the Neolithic Revolution. And that was the domestication of wheat. It's worth considering why it is in our day that as we come to some very fundamental questions about the survival of human civilization, given the increasing turbulence due to climate change, that those ruins of Gobekli Tepe, buried for 10,000 years, are just beginning to surface to human attention. What secrets do they hold? What guidance can they offer? What wisdom has laid buried that we can garner at this moment of crisis and opportunity? So this is where we've been